What's up, everyone? Happy Football Friday. It's a gorgeous day here in Pennsylvania, 72 degrees outside, just nice and crisp. I'm happy to be here. Just me today, so run through pretty quickly. Got some NFL news, some big transfer portals commitments. We have some XFL news, some sad news in the NFL, and then we'll finish up with our AFC South or our USFL Week 6 preview, as well as our AFC South draft recap for the Texans, Colts, Titans, and Jags. So let's get it started here with the college football news. I mentioned some major transfer news happening. Two big ones. Houston running back Alton McCaskill has found a home. He has committed to Coach Prime Deion Sanders at Colorado. That is a massive get for that program. McCaskill, explosive as it gets at the running back position. Great freshman year. So last year, but should be back to form this year. And what looks like it's going to be an explosive Colorado Buffaloes offense with Shedeur Sanders at quarterback, and Travis Hunter possibly at wide receiver. Not sure how much he's going to play offense, defense like he did at Jackson State. But I think that is a great get for Coach Prime. And then Michigan State wide receiver Keon Coleman has also found a home. He was deciding between Ole Miss, Florida State. It is Mike Norvell and Florida State. We mentioned this on Monday. They are now the land of trees out there at wide receiver. Johnny Wilson, 6'7". You now have Keon Coleman, who I believe is 6'5", 220. They have a lot of size on the outside. So it's going to be a fun offense, I think, for Florida State and the ACC, and Jordan Travis at quarterback, looking to make a dark horse run into the college football playoff the last year. It's 4 teams. Also, FBS players can now opt into having their likeness featured in the EA Sports college football video game debuting in 2024. It is going to be a welcome comeback for the college football sports franchise game. I know I've been playing NCAA 14 this summer a little bit on my roommate's Xbox 360. Thank you, Will. But yeah, I'm excited. I might buy it. I haven't really bought a video game in a while, but I mean, who knows? I might get the game to see how it is in its 10-year absence coming back next season. XFL news. What a way to go out for Renegades defensive tackle TJ Barnes. He has officially retired. 32 years old. He played for 5 NFL teams, 2 XFL teams, the original 2020 reboot, and this season's XFL likeness. 1 AAF team, Alliance of American Football. Remember, we had that in 2020. And then 1 IFL team, that's the Indoor Football League, arena football there. XFL champion. He goes out on top in the XFL. Congrats, TJ Barnes, on a solid career. The XFL announced its rookie draft will be held virtually on June 16th. To be eligible for the XFL rookie draft, you have to have been eligible for the 2023 NFL draft and not be under contract with a pro football team currently. So there you go. Also, with the XFL this offseason, the players will remain under contract with their teams through December 31st. The team retains player rights, and there will also be a fall draft that will occur after NFL cuts. I believe that will kind of be like a dynasty draft where it's, rookies plus veterans that didn't make the NFL squads. So we'll see how that goes. And then players, teams, and the league have a mutual option for 2024 contracts. So more than likely, we'll see a lot of these guys back in the XFL next spring that do not make it into the NFL or practice squads. The one sad note I have with the NFL today, legendary Browns running back Jim Brown, he has died at age 87 today. The greatest Brown in Browns history, I think by far. And no one will ever wear number 32 in Cleveland. That's for sure. He was the Browns' first-round pick in 1957, led the league in rushing 8 of his 9 seasons, played with Cleveland from 1957 to 1965. He had 12,312 rushing yards, 9-time Pro Bowler, Pro Bowl in every season he played, 3-time NFL MVP, and he took the Browns to the NFL championship game 3 times, winning it in 1964. He retired at the age of 30 in 1966 because owner Art Modell told him he would possibly suspend his pay if he did not report to camp because he was still filming a movie that production went long in the summer because of weather. So he was still filming a movie, decided, nope, I'm not going to play football anymore. I'm going to retire, focus on my acting career and my social activism, which is what he did. Great man overall. Wish I could have met him, but from what I have heard, he was a fantastic person, revered and respected everywhere he went. I read the one thing that said in a room of Hall of Famers, if Jim Brown walked in, everyone stood up and clapped, which is just ridiculous and crazy to think of. So yeah, will be missed. But Jim Brown gone at age 87. The Titans, their stadium announced it is expected to open in 2027 for the 2027 NFL season. So going to be a while until we see the new Titans stadium, but it will be here eventually. XFL to NFL signings here. 3 more happening this week. The Steelers, they signed Battlehawks wide receiver Hakeem Butler. Love that signing. Get some more size on the outside. 6'4" for Hakeem Butler. Great season with the Battlehawks and AJ McCarron as his quarterback. So another option for Kenny Pickett in the offseason, see if he can make the roster. The Jags, they signed Renegades linebacker Willie Taylor. I believe he was the one player on the Renegades that was draft eligible, went undrafted. So technically an undrafted rookie free agent this offseason. So good for him latching on with Jacksonville at a position they kind of need at linebacker. And then finally, the Packers, they signed defenders punter Daniel Whelan, was the all XFL punter, special team punter. And I'm happy. I'm happy that he lands in Green Bay. Maybe I'll see him this year if he can win the punting job there. One re-signing to mention, it's a big one. The Steelers, they signed quarterback Mitch Trubisky to a new 3-year, $19.4 million deal, including a 2-year extension on top of his last year that he already had. $33 million max value of that deal. So good payday for Mitch. Solidifies the backup quarterback position in Pittsburgh now with the re-signing of Mason Rudolph as the 3rd quarterback. And they keep Mitch Trubisky on for another 2 years. So good stability there at the quarterback position for the Steelers. Couple of releases here. Going back to Pittsburgh, the Steelers, they released corner Akello Witherspoon, started 7 games over the last 2 seasons for Pittsburgh. Never really worked out on his free agent contract. I had high hopes for Akello, but injuries and ineffectiveness really cost him his spot with the Steelers at a position that they need. They still need help at corner, even with the drafting of Joey Porter Jr. and Corey Trice, signing of Patrick Peterson. They still need help because they released Arthur Mollett. Now they released Witherspoon. They're going to be counting on some young guys there in that secondary other than Peterson. And then the Panthers, they released quarterback Jacob Eason and wide receiver Preston Williams. Makes sense. Neither really going to make the roster, so makes sense on that front. And then one free agent signing, the Texans. They signed Broncos pass rusher Jacob Martin to a one-year deal. Spent last year with the Jets and then traded to Denver. I can't remember if it was that way or it was the other way around. It might have been the other way around. But regardless, goes back to Houston where he spent 2019 through 2021. So he knows the city well. Happy, I'm sure, to be in D'Amico Ryan's defensive system. That's all the news that I have for you. Let's move on to the XFL pick standings. We all went 0-1. We all picked the DC Defenders last week. Final standings here. Logan, Mark, tied at the top, 31-11. I finished 3 games back. So the final winning percentage is 73.8% for Logan and Mark. My winning percentage was 66.7%. So pretty solid, over 60% for all three of us, over 70 for Logan and Mark there. Really nice season, gentlemen. And congrats to Logan and Mark for getting the tie at the top. USFL pick standings. Yes, I am at the top on this one. 12-8 now. Went 2-2 last week. Got the Maulers and the Showboats Lone Wolves right. Lost on the Stallions and the Panthers. No, I know the Stallions were the one loss, and then the other loss, was the Generals. Yeah, lost on the Stallions and the Generals. Mark went 1-3. Not a good week for any of us. Mark 1-3. His lone win came with his lone wolf of the Philadelphia Stars on in the upset of the Generals. And then Logan 0-4. Sir, you have dropped below 500, in danger of failing out of the FAA podcast USFL pick standing. So you got to get it right this week. I know you and I are on a couple together, so we'll get it this week. So let's get to the picks. Week 6, we are cruising through this season. XFL went very fast. USFL already on to the back half of the schedule. So tomorrow, the Maulers at the Showboats. I was very shocked that Logan was taking my Memphis Showboats with me. Usually I am lone wolfing the Memphis Showboats. This should be a great game, I think. Mark lone wolfing the Maulers, not a bad selection. The thing, this should be an under game, I think. If the Showboats continue to play on defense like they had the last 2 weeks, they've allowed 10 points each week, the last 2. The Maulers, I said this before, they have been mauling people most of the season on defense, even with a 2-3 record. The Showboats really need this. Pittsburgh, luckily for them, they're in the North where all 4 teams are 2-3, so a loss doesn't hurt them a lot. Showboats need this win. Birmingham and Houston, both 3-2. New Orleans, who they beat last week, 4-1. So they need to start moving up and getting closer to the top 3 teams there to try to get into the top 2 and make the playoffs. But I do think this is going to be a defensive game again. And I think the Showboats will have a good chance at it. Cole Kelly has been fantastic at quarterback. The defense has backed them up when it needed to. And they got a win against the only undefeated team left in the USFL last week on the road. So I think the Showboats can get it done. They're at home this week. Pittsburgh, well, I think it will be a very close game. Maybe Troy Williams turns the ball over, and the hope is that the running game doesn't come back to hurt Memphis. Kareth White out for this game, so it's going to be Jawan Washington as the starter. They also have Ezra Gray, who they signed last week as well. Those are going to be your two running backs for Memphis. Tough to run the ball, 257 sub 200-pound running backs. So we'll see how much running they do, how much running Cole Kelly does as well at quarterback. The total is 41.5. And again, that's the lowest of the weekend, but I do like the under. I think this is going to be a very low scoring game. Both defenses playing excellent right now. Pittsburgh gives up the least amount of points per game in the USFL. I believe it's right around 17. So give me the Showboats, but give me the under here. This one's 12:30 on USA tomorrow. The Stallions at the Panthers. Stallions getting 5 here. It's a clean sweep across the board once again this week for Birmingham. Lost that game last week against Houston in a 1-score game. But I think they're going to rebound this week. The Panthers are probably the worst offense in the USFL right now. Them and Philly are close, but Philly has a lot more star power than Michigan does at the skill positions. And I just think the uncertainty at quarterback, I think Eric Berrier should start this game. If he doesn't, which I've heard they are moving forward with Josh Love. Carson Strong placed on IR this week. Eric Berrier, though, should get in this game at some point if Josh Love continues to struggle like he has. And maybe Eric Berrier is the difference that they need to get this Panthers offense kick-started. I don't think it's going to happen, though. The Stallions, Alex McGough has played very well this year, leads the USFL in passing touchdowns with 10. Also leads all quarterbacks, I believe. I could be wrong. In rushing yards. If he doesn't lead, he's close. He's top 2 or 3 there. I know he and 1 or 2 other quarterbacks have over 200 rushing yards. DeAndre Johnson, one of them. But I think his legs are going to be a big factor in this one. They do have to go up against the USFL's leading sacker, and Breland Speaks leads the league with 6.5 sacks. So that's going to be a tough out, but I do think the Stallions offense can score a lot more than the Panthers can. And they've lost 3 straight at home, make it 4 here in Detroit. So give me the Birmingham Stallions here. Total is 44.5. I'm going to go with the under. I just don't believe in this Panthers offense to score enough. 4 p.m. on Fox. And then on Sunday, we have the Breakers at the Stars. It's a clean sweep once again for New Orleans. I think the Breakers will rebound and rebound big. I like the Breakers to cover the 7 and pound the Philadelphia Stars. The Stars offense is, like I said, the second worst probably in the USFL ahead of the Panthers. And their offensive line is by far the worst. So I think the Breakers get pressure on Case Cookus and force him to make some turnovers. MBT rebounds, bad turnover game last week against Memphis. I think they don't turn it over at all in this game, and they come back and get this one done. One other big thing for Philadelphia, their wide receiver, I believe Corey Coleman or Devin Gray, I can't remember which one, was injured and is out several weeks. Yeah, I can't recall which Stars wide receiver is out. But anyways, yeah, it's gonna be tougher for Philly with another receiver out, losing Chris Rowland earlier in the season, and now they Jordan Sewell out several weeks, so another big receiver for Case Cookus there gone for an indefinite amount of time. Going to be tough for him to throw the ball. So I think again, Breakers big, cover the 7. Total is 47.5. Give me the over. I mean, I think they're going to score a lot. The Breakers are. So the Stars score a little bit on the other side, maybe 2 touchdowns. That gets it done. Over 47.5. 12 p.m. on FS1. And then the last game of week 6 here, the Generals at the Gamblers. Mark lone wolfing the New Jersey Generals. And the only reason I'm going with the Houston Gamblers here is because I think that, for one, Mark Thompson is a beast. Darius Victor's fumbling issues last week, I don't think it's not going to happen again. And if it does, I mean, he's done. But I think that, for one, Kenji Bahar will be back this week, which will give Houston a big boost. And also, Mark Thompson is a beast, like I already said. But yeah, Houston should get this thing done. They won without Kenji Bahar last week against a good Birmingham team, and Jersey, had the turnover issues with Darius Victor, lost to a team that didn't score touchdown. So I think Houston wins this one at home, covers the 5. I really like the 5. I think it's going to be a closer game than that. So Mark rolling with Darius Victor, and I could see both sides of this game, but I am rolling with the Gamblers here. Total is 45.5. Give me the over for this one. Houston, as long as there's not a lot of turnovers, I think Houston's offense is very good, especially if Kenji Bahar is playing. They were pretty decent with Terry Wilson as well, but Bahar is a different animal there. So give me the over 45.5. I like some points to be scored on Sunday. 4 p.m. on Fox. Now let's get to the AFC South draft recap here. Here are your 5 first-round picks for the division. Number 2 overall pick, quarterback C.J. Stroud for the Texans. Number 3 overall, edge rusher Will Anderson Jr. for Houston as well. Number 4, quarterback Anthony Richardson for Indianapolis. 11th overall was Peter Skoronski, the tackle for the Titans. And then 27th overall was offensive tackle Anton Harrison for Jacksonville. So let's run through the Texans first here. I mentioned the 2 first-rounders, back-to-back picks. They traded back up to number 3 with the Cardinals to get Will Anderson. But quarterback C.J. Stroud out of Ohio State, number 2. Edge rusher Will Anderson Jr., Alabama, number 3. Second round, they went center Juice Scruggs, Penn State, number 62. Third round, wide receiver Tank Dell, Houston, number 69. Fourth round, edge rusher Dylan Horton out of TCU, number 109. Fifth round, linebacker Henry Tuotuo out of Alabama, number 167. Sixth round, 2 picks, center Jarrett Patterson out of Notre Dame, number 201. Wide receiver Xavier Hutchinson, Iowa State, number 205. And then 7th round, safety Brandon Hill out of Pitt, number 248. Really like the Texans draft here. What they did in the first 2 picks, going back up to 3, they got 2 blue chippers. I think C.J. Stroud was the clear number 2 quarterback in this draft. I liked Bryce Young a lot better than anyone else. But C.J. Stroud solidified his number 2 ranking for me in the Georgia game. And then the great combine performance as well. I think he's going to do good. The Ohio State quarterback thing scares me. The translation from the Ohio State offense to NFL offense is a big one. He's going to have to learn how to be under center because I would think that Bobby Slowick is going to run a Kyle Shanahan style offense coming from San Francisco. So, going to have to learn how to do under center. It's going to be a learning curve for CJ. And I do think he's going to start week 1, but it's going to take a while to get there. The edge rusher, Will Anderson Jr., probably the best prospect in the draft, the cleanest, I think, by far. Struggled last year, but overall 27 and a half career sacks, I believe, over 3 seasons at Alabama, and should be a force and a cornerstone for that DeMeco Ryans defense. I'm really excited to see Will Anderson gobble up the passers in this division, including with Tennessee, probably 2 rookie quarterbacks in the division in the near future. The second round here, Juice Scruggs, like it. I mean, why not get your quarterback a centerpiece here with the center? You guys can learn together. There's going to be some rivalry there. Penn State center, Ohio State quarterback. Might be a little bit of a hate to start, but they'll get it worked out in the name of the game. So I think Juice Scruggs, pretty solid pick. I didn't know too much about him for being on my own team. Penn State had a great Senior Bowl performance, and or not Senior Bowl, NFLPA Bowl. And I'm excited to see Juice Scruggs, though, in this offense. Also on the offensive side, they went Tank Dell. Tank Dell, explosive. Issue with him was size, 5'7", I believe. But he's named Tank for a reason. He does not care how big he is. He is going to run you over in traffic. And yeah, is again a downfield threat that Houston needed. They really didn't have a lot of youth at wide receiver with Robert Woods, but they're going to have Nico Collins, get John Mechie back from his cancer treatments from last year, and now you add Nathaniel Dell and Xavier Hutchinson, who I'll talk about, and you have a really solid quintet of wide receivers. So I think that was a great move and a good pick for the Texans offense. Juice Scruggs, by the way, lined up in the starting center spot currently there. Dylan Horton, I like the pick. You know, you need edge rush help, so why not go back to the well multiple times in the same draft if you like a guy. Dylan Horton had a great college football playoff, especially against Michigan, and I think he's a guy that could help Will Anderson Jr. in that edge rush with Jerry Hughes and Chase Winovich, Jonathan Greenard as well. Henry To'oTo'o is a guy I really liked coming out. Limitation for him, I believe, was run defense. So, I think it was run defense. Great sideline to sideline linebacker, though, and should fill in nicely with Christian Harris, Christian Kirksey, and Denzel Perriman there to go along with Corey Littleton, Blake Cashman, and Neville Hewitt, who they just re-signed this offseason. Jarrett Patterson, he's probably going to slide in at guard. He's listed as the third string center right now, but I think he has positional versatility to play guard or center. They're pretty set at guard right now. Kenyon Green, Shaq Mason, but still not a bad option to stack that offensive line with depth. Could beat out Quessenberry there for center, or like I said, I think he's more of going to be a interior swing guy, probably beating out Michael Dieter or Jimmy Morrissey at the backup guard spots. Xavier Hutchinson pick, I can't believe he lasted till the 6th round. I mean, this guy was a catch machine at Iowa State, 6'1", 205, I believe. And, he's not the fastest. He's kind of a jump ball guy, even though he's not the tallest either. But I think he was a great player at Iowa State, very experienced. I think he's going to give the Texans wide receiver room that I already talked about a different perspective and good production there from maybe the wide receiver 4 or 5 spot. And then Brandon Hill, Pitt, don't know too much about him, but good to get safety depth. They signed Jimmy Ward, which was great. Jalen Petrie had a fantastic rookie season last year. They already have MJ Stewart, Eric Murray, Brandon Hill, going to have an uphill battle to make this roster. But Pat Narduzzi coaches up good players on defense there, so not a bad thing to take a Pitt Panther on defensive side of the ball. Overall, I'm going to give the Texans a B+. I really liked a lot of what they did on offense, and the defensive selections were pretty solid as well. Just not outstanding, even though I think they did get probably the number 1 player in Will Anderson Jr. and also the number 2 quarterback. But I think they fit all their needs. The only other thing I would have said was probably corner, which they didn't get. And maybe that knocks it down to a B+. But other than that, I think it was a very solid draft. On to Indianapolis here. First round, they went quarterback Anthony Richardson out of Florida, number 4 overall. Second round, corner Julius Brents, Kansas State, number 44. Third round, wide receiver Josh Downs, North Carolina, number 79. Fourth round, 2 picks, offensive tackle Blake Freeland, BYU, number 106. Defensive tackle Adi Tamiwa Adebawore, Northwestern, number 110. Fifth round, they had 4 picks. Corner Darius Rush out of South Carolina, number 138. Safety Daniel Scott out of Cal, number 158. Tight end Will Mallory out of Miami, number 162. Running back Evan Hall, Northwestern, number 176. Sixth round, edge rusher Titus Leo out of Wagner, number 211. And then 7th round, they had 2 selections. Corner Jalen Jones, Texas A&M, number 221. And offensive tackle Jake Witt, Northern Michigan, number 236. So the Colts did a great job, I think. I'm not an Anthony Richardson guy, so it's tough when your first pick is a guy I really don't believe in. So with that, I'm not really going to say much about him. I mean, obviously the traits are there. The massive arm, the speed. He ran 4.43 in the 40, which is just ridiculous for a quarterback. He has the power. He's big, strong. And there's a lot of, Cam Newton type of characteristics with Anthony Richardson. But the downfalls that hurt Cam Newton in his NFL career are kind of what I saw in Anthony Richardson's 1 year of starting. And that's the biggest issue. He only started 1 year. He's very inexperienced. And he's going to be on the bench, I believe, for most of the season. Gardner Minshew, if the Colts want to do this thing right, and head coach Shane Steichen wants to get it done right, the best thing I believe is for Anthony Richardson to sit for most of the season. So with that being said, I understand the pick. I just am not a big fan of Anthony Richardson. So moving on to Julius Brents, though. That was a great selection. Slot corner for Julius Brents. Gonna slide in as CB3 after Kenny Moore and Isaiah Rodgers, who are their top 2. They also have Dallas Flowers. He's more of a return man, though. And they signed Tony Brown as well. But they needed help at corner. They traded Stephon Gilmore away to Dallas, so they needed help at corner. Got it in Julius Brents. Again, he's going to be nickel slot corner. Great selection there, inside-out versatility for Julius Brents. and fast too. A lot of speed here on the Colts draft because the next guy is also pretty fast. I think he's quicker than fast, as a lot of people like to say. But Josh Downs, excellent slot receiver. We should see Downs Brents matchups in training camp all day, every day. I think that's going to be fantastic to watch. But yeah, Josh Downs going to slot in perfectly with this offense. Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce on the outside. You put Josh Downs in the slot, and you got an offense and a full wide receiver room. Interesting, though, they did sign Isaiah McKenzie this offseason. So not sure if Downs is going to be starting right away over McKenzie, but we'll wait and see how that plays out on the depth chart. But they do have him as an option if Downs isn't ready to go, which is nice. Nice move for Chris Ballard there in Indy. Fourth round there, Blake Freeland was a fantastic selection, I think. They needed help at left tackle. Bernard Ryman, they drafted last year on day 2. Had his ups and downs at left tackle. Their right side is solid. Braden Smith is as good as it comes. They need to find their left tackle. If Ryman can get it done this year, good. If not, Blake Freeland is an excellent option who played a lot of ball at BYU. I think that was a good pick to solidify the tackle spot. And if he's a swing tackle, he's a swing tackle. If Ryman isn't working out, Freeland goes in, and I think you'll have your left tackle. Adetomiwa Adebawore is also another guy that I was like, bro, how is he in the 4th round? Many people had this guy going in on day 2, 2nd, 3rd round, possibly. Goes in the 4th, and it's a great pick. I mean, they needed help behind Grover Stewart, DeForest Buckner. They signed Taven Bryan. But other than that, they really didn't have a lot of defensive tackle in their base 4-3 scheme that they're going to run. So Adetomiwa Adebawore gives you a lot of speed inside. Needs to work on the power game, but I do think he's going to be a speed interior rusher, going to push the pocket and use that speed to get by guards more than overpower them on the pass rush. Darius Rush, another guy that fell way below draft expectations, I believe, anyways. I think he was another guy that was kind of, flirting with that fringe day 2 kind of selection. And, again, they needed corner. I talked about it. The Julius Brent selection I really liked. Darius Rush is another guy that I really liked. Can give you a slot outside option in a pinch. And South Carolina puts out good corners, people. You have Stephon Gilmore, and you've had a bunch of other guys as well from South Carolina previously. So I like Darius Rush for Indy. Stephon Gilmore did not go to South Carolina, I don't think. My bad. Maybe he did. I don't remember. I think he did, though. Daniel Scott, though, excellent safety. I believe he was a little undersized. I could be wrong on that one, though. But they, again, needed help. They actually released Rodney McLeod, not probably because of the Daniel Scott selection, because they have him slotted as the 3rd string free safety right now. I have no clue who Trevor Denbo is, but that is who is ahead of Daniel Scott, and I have to believe that will not be the case going into the season. So, yeah, Daniel Scott should fill in that 4th safety spot behind Rodney Thomas, Julian Blackman, and Nick Cross. Going to play a lot of special teams, which I think he's going to be an ace. I think he could be probably maybe one of the guys up for the Pro Bowl in the special teams race this year for Indianapolis, but we'll have to see how that plays out. Will Mallory, the tight end position, I think, is open up for grabs in Indianapolis. I mean, who is it? They have Kylan Granson, who they drafted last year. Jelani Woods is the incumbent. Mo Alley Cox is there as well. But yeah, they drafted Kylan Granson 2 years ago, actually, 2021, in the 4th round. They have him placed in as the starter right now. Will Mallory's a guy that can do a lot of great stuff, though. I think Kylan Granson, Will Mallory are your two guys that are more of the move tight ends and that will catch a lot of balls. Now, it depends if, Will Mallory's got some work to do, though, because it is a loaded tight end group. There's just not a lot of spectacular wow plays, I think, from this group. Jelani Woods, Mo Alley Cox, I think, are solidified. Kylan Granson, maybe they keep 4. I think that's probably the move that I would go with right now because, like I said, Granson and Mallory are the move tight ends. Woods, Alley Cox, those two are more traditional inline tight ends. So maybe they keep 4. But all in all, Mallory, great selection. With the value in the 5th round, I think that was a great pick, getting this offense some more weaponry. Evan Hall's guy I really liked. Unfortunately, he's going to be mired back as the 4th running back right now. JT, Zach Moss, Deion Jackson are the other 3. And Evan Hall's a beast. He can do everything, run, catch the ball. He and Daniel Scott should have a good time on special teams this year. If they do keep 4 running backs. So yeah, I'm excited about Evan Hall. Not going to play a lot on offense, I think, this year anyways, but good selection all in all, and can do a lot of what Jonathan Taylor can. Don't know too much about Titus Leo. Good to see the small school guys getting selected, though. Love that. Again, edge rush. Kwity Paye has been a question mark on whether he's worked out as a 2nd round pick. 2nd round pick, I believe, right? No, 1st round. 1st round. But still, 1st rounder 2 years ago. He's been questionable, just 10 sacks, which is decent. 5 sacks per season through his first 2 years. Needs to up that, maybe double that this year if he can. But yeah, they needed some help. Adeo Odiengbo and Samson and Bukum, Tyquan Lewis, their other guys on the outside. So yeah, I think it made sense to throw a dart at an edge rusher late. And then the Jalen Jones selection in round 7 was ridiculous. He was definitely getting 3rd round grades. Again, the corner room is solidified a lot now. And they have a bona fide 6, 7, 8 corners that they can roll out there, and probably going to lose some good ones to teams whenever cuts come in August. And then lastly, Jake Witt. Again, I like to see the small school guys getting recognition. Northern Michigan, D2. Yeah, I mean, another flyer, just like a trait that you see. And I can tell you, I have nothing to say about Jake Witt. I have no clue who he is. So, but the Colts, I think, outside of the Anthony Richardson, I like it a B. I think it was really solid at the top, and then the middle rounds filled some areas, some gaps in the roster. I just don't like it as much as I liked the Texans' star power that they got in fewer picks. But yeah, I like the Colts as a B, pretty solid from Chris Ballard and co. Moving on to Tennessee, the Titans getting their left tackle in Peter Skoronski out of Northwestern, number 11 overall. 2nd round, they got their quarterback of the future, Will Levis, Kentucky, number 33, traded up to get him. Round 3, they got their running back of the future, Tajay Spears, Tulane, number 81. Didn't have a 4th round pick. 5th round, they go tight end, Josh Wiley, Cincinnati, number 147. Sixth round, offensive tackle Jalen Duncan, Maryland, number 186. And then seventh round, wide receiver Colton Dowell, UT Martin, number 228. So this draft was a roller coaster, I think. Absolutely home run selection in round one with Peter Skoronski. They have him playing tackle, or on the depth chart, he's left guard. So, but he has tackle guard versatility. They signed Andre Dillard this offseason to be their left tackle. They drafted Nicholas Petit Frere last year in the third round to be their right tackle. So they have those guys. And then they get Skoronski. So I think that's a fantastic selection. Solidify a position, whether it is guard or if Dillard doesn't work out, Patrick Frere doesn't work out, he can play anywhere, I think, other than center maybe. Maybe he can even do that. I don't know. But I loved Skoronski as a tackle. Love him again as guard, which he's going to play, it looks like, for the Titans right now. Open some holes for Derrick Henry. Now, Will Levis, I think it was a great value at 33 for Tennessee there. And new GM Ran Carthon. But, you know, I like it. I think they had to with Ryan Tannehill in the last year of his deal. Malik Willis struggled mightily in the games he got in last year as a third round pick. And we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I mean, it's nice for Will Levis. He doesn't have any pressure of being a first round pick. He can go in, put his head down, work, and take over in 2024. It just makes a lot of sense for the Titans to do that at that point in the draft, to go up and get him when he was still sitting there top of day 2. Third round, Tajay Spears, home run. That's another home run, though. And he hits home runs all day. 4 touchdowns in the bowl game against USC was a great way just to go out in his Tulane career. And yeah, he's going to be the number 2 right now and possibly the number 1 in the future. I mean, he's not the bruiser like Henry is, but at the same time, he does everything you want him to do, catch and run the ball. And while he's not as big, he can do the between the tackle stuff. So I think that's a great selection at 81st overall value to pick there. Josh Wiley, I don't really like. He's gonna the tight end situation is iffy in Tennessee, to say the least. My guy Chigo Okonkwo there, great pick if you need a tight end late in your draft. I think he's a solid selection as a tight end 2 right now. Going to be the starter. They have Josh Wiley out actually already in the second spot. Behind Okonkwo, Trayvon Wesco, the H-back, in the third spot. But I think Josh Wiley's kind of an H-back too. I think he can do a lot of different stuff, can block, can catch the ball. He's just not explosive in the receiving game. And I think that's why he went down here in the 5th round. But not a bad selection. I just am not a big fan of the H-back pick. Jalen Duncan in the 6th round's awesome, Mr. Carthon. I mean, if they didn't already have Petit Frere and Dillard, I would have said that they got their tackles of the future, just like Seattle did last year. Because Skoronski could have played left and Duncan played right, and you're there. You're good. You're set. Who knows? Maybe that's how it will happen. But right now, Jalen Duncan's going to slide in. He's going to be the swing tackle for Dillard and Petit Frere, and that's how it's going to be. He's a great selection in the 6th round. A lot of production at Maryland, helping protect Talia Tagovailoa for a couple years there. And yeah, I love the value in the 6th round was fantastic. for the Titans. 7th round, Colton Dowell. Don't know anything about him, so I really have nothing to say. The Titans, though, I'm going to give it a C+. And I mentioned the roller coaster attitude that I felt this draft had. And the biggest issue I had was the wide receiver. They drafted one in the 7th round, a guy that I had never really known too much about. Their wide receiver room is not terrific right now. They didn't get any help for Ryan Tannehill other than Skoronski and Josh Wiley and Tajay Spears, but Wiley and Spears both going to be, and Duncan, all three are going to be backups this year. So not getting a wide receiver, a more talented wide receiver, I should say. Not that Colton Dowell's not talented, but a higher selection would have been warranted, I thought, for Tennessee. Traylon Burks, Nick Westbrook-Akina, Kyle Phillips, Chris Moore, Racey McMath, and Dowell are your top 6 right now. That's tough. That's probably one of the worst wide receiver cores in the NFL as a top 6. Probably definitely top 3 is one of the worst bottom quarter of the league, I would say. So, yeah, that's the biggest issue. That's why I'm giving the Titans C+. Loved the Skoronski, Spears, and Duncan picks, though. Half of the Titans draft I really loved. Levis was a solid selection value-wise, but not sold on it like I am the other 3 picks I mentioned. And lastly, the Jags had a lot of picks, especially on day 3. But first round, offensive tackle Anton Harrison, Oklahoma, number 27. Round 2, tight end Brenton Strange, Penn State, number 61. 3rd round, running back Tank Bigsby, Auburn, number 88. 4th round, 2 picks, linebacker Ventrell Miller out of Florida, number 121. And edge rusher Tyler Lacey, Oklahoma State, number 130. 5th round, 2 picks, edge rusher Yasir Abdullah, number 136. And safety Antonio Johnson, Texas A&M, number 160. 6th round, they had 3 picks, wide receiver Parker Washington, Penn State, number 185. Corner Christian Braswell, Rutgers, number 202. Defensive back Eric Hallett, Pittsburgh, number 208. And then 7th round, 3 picks again. Offensive tackle Cooper Hodges, Appalachian State, number 226. Defensive tackle Raymond Voasek, North Carolina, number 227. And edge rusher / fullback Derek Parrish, Houston, number 240. I really liked the Jags draft, especially the value picks that they got on day 3 were just awesome. For their front office and Trent Baalke, GM there. Anton Harrison is a guy I really liked at the top. He's going to come in, fill that left tackle spot. They don't know how long Cam Robinson is suspended. And when Cam Robinson comes back from his suspension, that's fine. We'll slide Anton Harrison to right tackle because Walker Little really hasn't been that great. We want to slide Walker Little into left guard, and that's how we'll do it. But, yeah, I love Anton Harrison. He was a guy I was looking at for the Steelers, possibly in the 2nd round. Whenever I had them taking Joey Porter Jr. in the 1st, they kind of flipped that, went tackle and then Joey Porter. But Anton Harrison's a bona fide left tackle and going to be a good one, I think. Brenton Strange, my Penn State guy. Thought it was a little early for Brenton Strange. He was getting some draft hype. But, I mean, he's a guy that can do it all. He's not fast like a lot of the other tight ends, but he doesn't have to be. He knows how to run routes correctly and find spaces in the defense. He's a touchdown machine. And while he's not the biggest, I think he's going to be a solid option for Trevor Lawrence in the passing game. and he's going to be able to take over for Evan Ingram if they don't re-sign him to an extension, like they said they're going to. But if that doesn't happen, even if it does, Brenton Strange is going to be a fantastic number 2 tight end for Jacksonville right now. The third round was an issue. They did need a second running back. I understand that. But why did it have to be the third round? Why did it have to be Tank Bigsby? I mean, I do like the Bigsby selection. When you look at Travis Etienne, Bigsby combo, I think works well. Etienne more of the lightning, Bigsby the thunder, the pounder that can hit you up inside and on the goal line. So it makes a lot of sense for that. Something about it just doesn't sit right with me in the third round. Thought they could have maybe waited and got a running back later, such as Chase Brown, like the Bengals did in the 5th round. Ventrell Miller, I really liked that selection. They needed a lot of help at backup linebacker. Devin Lloyd, Foye Oluokun, he's on the last year of his deal, I believe. And then Chad Muma, their top 3 inside linebackers in their 3-4. So nice 4th option there, and a veteran presence that played a lot of ball at Florida, had some issues on and off the field. But I think a good player overall and going to help you in special teams. Tyler Lacey's a guy I really liked. He's going to play D end in the 3-4, so he's going to play a little bit of maybe 5 tech there, defensive end. Nice selection. I kind of liked him outside more, depending on his size. I can't remember. Okay, never mind. 285, so pretty big to be an outside linebacker. But yeah, I think he's going to do a nice job learning from some solid guys, Roy Robertson Harris and Folarinso Fatukasi there. Good guys to learn from, as well as Adam Gotsis and Henry Mondo. So yeah, I like that one. The Yasir Abdullah, I was so about these Louisville edge rushers, Yasir Abdullah, Yahya Diaby as well. I wasn't really sure what to think about them. They have him as the 4th weak side linebacker there, which is where Josh Allen plays. Yeah, it's a good selection. They drafted kind of 3 edge. I put edge as Tyler Lacey, really a defensive end, but yeah, I think it's good. They needed some help behind Josh Allen. They really didn't have much. Him and Trayvon Walker, Caleb Chase on top 3. They needed some depth there, so made a lot of sense. Hopefully he works out, but I'm not really sold on it. The guy after him, though, is a guy I can't believe he lasted till the 5th round. Antonio Johnson. These Texas A&M players were getting second day hype. I already talked about Jalen Jones with Indy, and Antonio Johnson was supposed to go even higher than Jalen Jones was in the 2nd, 3rd round-ish area. And he's here in the 5th, which is a steal for Jacksonville. They already had a very solid safety core: Rayshon Jenkins, Andre Sisco, Andrew Wingard, and Daniel Thomas. So we'll see. I believe Antonio Johnson will beat one of those guys out, Wingard or Thomas there, for that 4th safety spot, help on special teams, but could even elevate to the 3rd safety, get some defensive nickel dime kind of looks if they go 3 safeties in the defense there for Jacksonville. Parker Washington, man, that's my guy. I loved Park at Penn State last couple of seasons. He's a slot demon and catches a lot of balls there. Now, they already had a very solid trio of wide receivers. Christian Kirk's your slot guy. Calvin Ridley got reinstated. And Zay Jones, those are your outside receivers. Jamal Agnew's your gadget guy. And then you got Parker Washington there slotting in as 5th wide receiver. He's going to make this team. And while it's going to be tough to get snaps because of Kirk there playing in the slot, I think he's going to be a good option for Trevor Lawrence if injuries occur to the top four, or, on the off chance he does get some offensive work. He's going to be a punt returner as well, which will be a good option for them if they don't want to roll Jamal Agnew out there all the time, which is their guy. But I think he can do that as well. Broswell and Hallett, don't know too much about either. I mentioned Pat Narduzzi coaches up great players on defense, so sure, Eric Hallett will be solid. Braswell, though, from Rutgers, they needed help at corner outside of Tyson Campbell and Darius Williams. They really didn't have a lot behind them talent-wise. So Braswell going to have an opportunity, I think, to play meaningful snaps this year at corner. Going to have to work out of the slot more than likely with Williams and Campbell on the outside. Trey Herndon's their slot guy right now, as well as Monteric Brown. But I think he's going to have an opportunity to make this roster and play meaningful snaps on defense. Cooper Hodges, Raymond Vahosek. There, I don't really know too much about either guy. Cooper Hodges, again, it's never a bad thing to take a shot on a offensive lineman late in the draft, see if you can hit on a guy you think has some good traits, and that's probably what they saw with Hodges. And then Vahasek there, probably the same kind of thing. They have him slotted as the third nose tackle behind Devon Hamilton, Nick Thurman, who I don't know too much about, but 6'2", 310 for Vahasek there. Good size. Probably want to add maybe 5 pounds as a nose, but other than that, pretty solid size. Gives you some run stopping ability, and possibly the number 2 nose tackle for the Jags. And then Derek Parrish is an interesting selection late for Jacksonville. He's a fullback, I'm telling you. And he's listed as the fullback. I don't know why on NFL .com they list him as an edge rusher, because he did play both. He played both sides of the ball at Houston, but he's going to be a fullback in the NFL. He's going to give Travis Etienne a lot of run lanes and Tank Bigsby. I think Parrish and Bigsby in a backfield is going to be a pounding style of system that they can use against the Titans, ironically. Kind of give them their own medicine if they want to run power sets with Bigsby as the back and Parrish as the fullback. I think that's going to be a solid option in an I formation if they want to do that with Doug Peterson and co. Overall, the Jags, I really liked their draft, so I'm going to give them a B+ as well. Very solid selections with Harrison, Strange, Bigsby, Miller, Lacey. Their top 5 are solid, and then the value picks were fantastic. Antonio Johnson, Parker Washington, and Derek Parrish there. Loved all 3 of those guys in rounds 5 through 7. So, B+ for the Jags, tying them with the Houston Texans. So I'm going with the Texans first as a B+, Jags second with a B+. The Colts get a B from me, and the Titans get a C+. So that is the grades that I give for the AFC South. Great drafts overall, all 4 teams there. And that is the show for today. Next Friday, we'll be back previewing USFL Week 7. We'll give you all the NFL and college football notes, and then we'll finish the show up just like today with the AFC East draft recap. I believe our guy Chris Cherry should be coming on to talk about his Jets and the rest of the AFC East next Friday. Don't forget to follow us on all the social media. I appreciate all the support at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter, FAA_bets as well. That'll get more active in season. And then FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio.